So, Keffals is back. The quote unquote arch enemy of the channel has returned, and I want to talk about it. She actually blocked me on Twitter like as soon as she came back. Like, I heard she came back, and I went to go check, and she blocked me on Twitter. I do find this odd. I'm not that big of a YouTuber. Most of my Keffals videos don't do super hot. So I'm wondering if it was just because I'm following somebody or she saw my videos. If you do watch my stuff, Keffals, please unblock me. I enjoy your tweets. I might use them to criticize, but I think I'm fair. I think you should unblock me, Keffals. That's just the way I view it. I think it would benefit the both of us because I'll follow you, and so you'll get another follower, and I'll get more content. And I really don't feel like making a second Twitter account for just to follow you. I don't want to do that. So please unblock me, Keffals. Anyway, into the actual content of the video. Keffals ended up putting out a video herself where she talked about what was going on, and it's pretty sad to watch. She talks about her struggles with substance abuse, which was a rumor for a long time. I covered it, didn't really think too much of it. Thought there was a chance that it might be true, but I wasn't 100%. It is true. She did have an issue with substance abuse. She had to go to rehab, which was why she was gone. And the situation is sad, don't get me wrong. But how do you spend $100K on just drugs? Like that. She apparently got like $100K from donations. We've covered all of this. Apparently she used it like all on drugs, which I don't even know how you pull that off, especially in like the 2 month span that she had it. Are drugs that expensive? I sound like such a fed dude. Are drugs that expensive? And they can't be, right? Because like crackheads are like out there and they're homeless, and they manage to get their hands on drugs. So you can't be spending $100K in 2 months unless you just are willingly like out there on the street, and most of them are not willingly out there on the street. So just from everything I've gathered, she must have been like buying the Lamborghini of drugs or something like that, because that is an insane amount of money to blow in the span of like 2 to 3 months. With all that out of the way, I did get a couple clips that I want to look at. So let's just do that.
After the 8-day long coke and meth bender and detoxing, I tried to go back to streaming. And then I got invited to this Twitter space where it was me and a few other trans activists, and we had to debate a whole bunch of far-right people on whether or not trans people deserved rights. I know a lot of people in the chat right now were around during that, and I was going through coke withdrawal while I was in that Twitter space. And I was so irritable that I just had to pause for a second, and I started calling them retards. And that kicked off so much shit. That kicked off like more shit than I have ever gotten from the left.
All this really does prove to me, at least, is that this stuff, this political content creation, always leads to this dumb infighting where after you say something that and it happens on either side of the aisle. It happens more prominently with left-wing creators because it gets called out a lot more. When it comes to left-wing creators like a Keffals or anyone, just name them, you're not allowed to make mistakes. Not really. You can make mistakes, and as soon as you do, you will be called out on them, and they won't let you forget about them, no matter who it is, no matter if it's people who used to be your friends who are now mad at you because you did this one little thing, and now all of a sudden you have to turn around and you have to go on an apology tour, and you have to repent for your sins and be like, oh, please do not cancel me, please, I need you as my audience, please. And it's just really weird and disheartening whenever you have to see somebody do that, have to lose their dignity just because they just said the R word, or they did something that, somebody didn't like, and all of a sudden they have to demean themselves. It's never fun to see that, obviously. Let's continue.
And I don't want to rehash all of the stuff that happened. And honestly, I still don't think what I did was that big of a deal. No one was hurt because of that. The only person that was really hurt at that time was me. But after the fallout from all of that and all of the drama, I decided, fuck it. I figured out how to get drugs on the dark net.
So yeah, proving my point even more. Ridiculous inviting that makes no sense, serves no one, doesn't, increase people wanting to come over to your side. It negatively affects any type of movement, any type of generation of, I guess you would try to say, like, it harms people who would normally gravitate to what you have to say. It gives them pause. They sort of sit there and they go, well, why are you going after this person? Why are you purity testing this person? Why is this such a big deal to you? And it's just ridiculous to see. I saw a tweet earlier today talking about how BreadTube has a problem of not being able to relate to a wider male audience. That's why people like an Andrew Tate or a Sneeko or, you name them, a Fresh and Fit. That's who I was looking for. Those guys can attract young men who feel like they get left behind by these groups and these individuals who tell them, oh, you're bad because you're male. And obviously, there's more to it than that. But when the cliff notes is you're bad because you're male, they genuinely want to gravitate towards someone who's not going to tell them you're bad because you're male. Now, obviously, over on the Tate, Fresh and Fit, Sneeko side, it's basically just the same thing but opposite, but you don't really realize that if you're like 12 and you're just looking for somebody who you can relate with on a personal level in content, which you shouldn't be doing. Not really. Parasocial relationships are kind of icky, I guess would be the best word to give them. But all that aside, I do want to give my thoughts on the whole tipster thing because he's been sort of defending Keffals, and I want to get my thoughts on that. So a lot of people have been, somewhat displeased with Tipster because he has been sort of defending Keffals a little bit. It's kind of, not really, I guess you would say, but he has been like there for her and supporting her. And it's a little bit weird, right? Because he's been a lot more vocal about being, pro-trans, very left-leaning. And personally, I don't care. I have no problem with him, giving his personal political beliefs. My problem is, why this trans person in particular? Like, of all the trans people on the internet, you decided to hitch your wagon to Keffals? And now, you all know, if you watch me, that I don't care about optics. But Keffals is probably the worst example of, a trans person you could use if you were to be like, guys, trans people are just normal people. They're not trying to be groomers. And I don't think Keffals is a groomer. And I want to make that clear. What I do think is making homemade growth hormones is bad for children. I know, super controversial statement. Personally, I don't want to see children who really can't make that type of decision yet have access to DIY puberty blockers. That's just the way I feel, okay? That's just how I operate. Obviously, that's not in any way a very out there stance, but apparently, it's weird to say now. Apparently, you can't be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be putting DIY hormones in your body. Alright? I can understand if there's kids out there, they think that they need this care because they're kids, right? And the thing is, unless a doctor with, 10 years, however long medical school is, I think it's like 10 years, those type of people with that kind of cachet, unless they're saying, oh yeah, you need to take this, you need to take that, don't put it in your body. That's just the way I feel about it, okay? And again, I'm fine with Tipster, giving his opinion, saying how he feels. That's not a problem. What is a problem is who he decided to sit out there and defend. the most based take you can have towards the Keffals situation is this. It sucks that she got swatted. It sucks that she was dealing with addiction. I hope she gets better. She still had some bad opinions. That's it. That's the most fair and base take. And obviously I think that because it's my take, alright? But anyone who's gotten this far into the video, can you tell me in the comments, like, where I'm going wrong here? Like, what I mean by where I've gone wrong here. Is there, like, something I'm missing to where it's like Keffals is just completely blameless? I think most people could agree with me that Keffals has pretty much dug their own grave. Like, what are we doing here? I don't know, man. But anyway, this is going to be my last video on Keffals. I'm done. They were fun while they lasted, but it's just not that interesting anymore. This was kind of sad just watching her recent videos. But that's it. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I put up my video about Spider-Man No Way Home over on my second channel, so definitely go make sure to check that one out. I had a lot of fun making that one. That might be my best video yet. I won't say my best video yet. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I really and truly appreciate it. Make sure you go check out my second channel. Goodbye. Thank you for 500 subs, by the way. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot that. Thank you all so much for that. Oh my goodness, this outro is about to be as long as I've been talking about the actual subject. Anyway, I'm gonna actually end it. Thank you all so much for 500 subs. Check out the second channel. I really and truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Goodbye.